and then to a construction foreman. Every day the foreman looks at the blueprint to know what to do. He has a guide. But to build our own life, the most important work of all, we rarely have a blueprint. We don't know what we want to be, and those who don't know what they want to be accept being anything. The first step to finding inner peace and human fulfillment is to have an ideal. This isn't just a nice phrase. It's a technical necessity. Without an ideal, we feel lost, disoriented, without direction. When you place yourself before death, no one thinks about their bank balance or the number of cars in the garage. Facing the end, we think about the field of being. What was, what did I allow people to become through me? Was I a factor of addition in the world, ... or a factor of subtraction? Having an ideal is defining, now, that you want to finish your journey being, for example, a just and fraternal human being. When you define this, anxiety decreases. The ideal doesn't serve to make you anxious about the future, but to give consistency to the present. If your ideal is justice, today you'll do the small part of justice that falls to you. The ideal prevents you from getting lost. Having this direction, we stop being manipulable. We know what serves us and what doesn't. What takes me to what my ideal is good. What distances me from it, however pleasurable it may be, is bad. This generates what we call the spirit of mission. Imagine someone who has the mission to build a table. He goes to the market and knows exactly what wood to buy, what nails to choose, what varnish to use. He doesn't waste time looking at useless things. He has focus because he knows what he's building. Someone who doesn't want to build anything goes around buying the most bizarre things in the world, spending vital energy uselessly. An ideal gives you this filter. It aligns your energy so you don't live adrift. To keep this ideal alive, we need to daily practice inner life. Plato called this the divine leisures. It's a sacred moment every day to dialogue with your soul. You stop and ask, was what I did today coherent with my ideal? If it wasn't, why did I betray myself? What was so seductive out there that made me leave my path? When you identify what diverted you, you create resistance. You mark that mistake to not repeat it. When we walk toward our ideal, we are ourselves. We have identity. When we walk in another direction, we're outside ourselves. Inner life is the habit of coming back home. The next pillar is to cultivate discipline. Many people see discipline as a prison, but it's the only real freedom. Disorganization and chaos slow us down. Imagine you have a great job opportunity, but you need to present your documents in an hour. If you live in chaos, you don't know where they are. You lose a chance, not from lack of ability, but from lack of order. External mess blocks the path. Discipline allows us to organize lives so opportunities aren't wasted. Moreover, discipline allows us to accumulate small victories. It's terrible to look back and see only a sequence of failures and unfinished projects. This corrodes self-confidence. We need to feel we're advancing. Small daily advances develop security and a healthy pride in someone who's overcoming their own limitations to sustain this discipline. We need to exercise concentration. The psychiatrist Carl Jung used a powerful expression, body and mind together. Where is your body now? Is your mind there too? Or is the body here and the mind in the future, in the past, or in a fantasy? Life only happens in the present. The experiences necessary for your growth are here and now. If you live fleeing the present, you'll learn nothing. Concentration can be trained. There's a simple exercise called Tratsic. You draw a circle on paper with a black dot in the center. You sit and stare fixedly at that dot. The goal is to concentrate so much on the dot that for a few seconds you stop seeing the circle around it. It seems silly, but it's a mental muscle if you practice this. When you read a book or talk to someone, you'll be fully there. You become master of your mind, instead a slave to dispersion. This concentration is vital because the trigger for emotional instability is almost always a thought. We lose concentration and let in an intrusive thought, a bad memory, an old offense, a future worry. That thought impacts the emotional and generates sadness, anger, or fear. Once emotion settles in, it's difficult to reverse. But if you have sharp concentration, you perceive the intrusive thought arising and cut it before it becomes motion. You control the entry door. Being in the present with enthusiasm is the antidote to anxiety. Anxiety is an unhealthy thread that connects us to an imaginary future. It's a total absence of self. When you practice being body and mind together, anxiety finds no space to grow. You live today as if it were the only day, with the freshness of the first day and the importance of the last. Another fundamental point is to banish thoughts that justify emotional pain. Often we feel anguish or sadness that comes from nowhere, perhaps captured from the environment. What do? Our mind immediately searches for a cause. We start digging through the past to find a reason to be sad. I'm like this because so offended me 10 years ago. There. You just gave an anchor to a pain that was passing. You justified the suffering. If you notice you were doing this, Change focus immediately. Use polarity. If the mind brought a memory of offense, force it to remember 10 moments when you were helped, praised, or loved. Change focus. We have a morbid tendency to look at the worst. If someone asks about Egypt, we talk about slavery. If they ask about a person, we remember the flaw. We need to train the mind to seek what is healthy, what is beautiful, and what is constructive. That we also need to combat inertia and laziness. My grandmother used to say, "Empty head in bed is the devil's workshop." And she was right. Staying in bed awake, rolling from side to side, is dangerous. It's in this state of semi-consciousness that the worst mental forms attack us. Inertia isn't rest. It's a swamp where our vital energy rots. If you woke up, get up. Start the day with purpose. Don't let inertia dictate the tone of your morning. And finally, in this stage of self-construction, we need to fight against morbidity and criticism. There's a vice in us to look for the negative aspect of everything. Why is the positive aspect considered inferior or naive? Seeing the good is an act of intelligence. Constant criticism, especially when we don't have the responsibility to educate the person, is just a way of putting a finger in someone else's wound. Often the person already knows their flaw and is fighting against it. Our criticism only increases the pain and doesn't help at all. And criticizing behind someone's back is even worse. It's cowardice that creates stereotypes and prevents the other from changing. We need to break the habit of being the world's judge and start being the architect of ourselves. The way we begin and end the day defines the quality of our consciousness. There's a magic of beginnings. The moment we awaken and the moment we fall asleep are portals. If you wake up and immediately connect with bad news, noise, or worries, you establish a heavy vibration that tends to carry for hours. It's like a radio that picks up a station and keeps playing that background music all day. Therefore, it's fundamental to select good music and good texts when waking and sleeping in the morning. Choose music that elevates your consciousness, that reminds you who you are and where you're going. Have a wisdom book on your bedside table. Read a paragraph, a prayer, a poem. It takes less than a minute but positions your mind on an elevated level, and do the same at night. Often we wake up tired because we take the day's tumult into sleep. If we enter sleep with serenity, rest will be restorative. This brings us to another crucial point. Keep the body and environments organized and clean. There's a direct connection between physical dirt and mental dirt, even if you don't consciously perceive it. Living in a dirty or slovenly environment sends a command to your subconscious. I accept living with dirt. And when you accept dirt outside, you begin to tolerate dirt inside. Anger, envy, mental laziness. Put a law within yourself. Don't admit living with degradation. The feeling of lightness from a clean body and an ordered house facilitates concentration and elevates feelings. We also need to talk about mental diet. Would you have the courage to eat rotten or poisonous food? Probably not, because you know your body would get sick. But curiously, we don't have the same care with our mind. We consume cultural garbage without filter. We watch violent films, read sensationalist news, spend hours scrolling screens with futile content. Don't let yourself be contaminated by negative mental forms. That violent image you saw in a film can stay engraved in your memory for decades, polluting your imagination. If you want inner peace, you need to select what enters through your eyes and ears with the same rigor you select what enters through your mouth. If there's nothing good to see, prefer silence or a good conversation. Protect your mind from intoxication. The body also needs attention. Contact with nature, taking in sun and doing some physical exercise aren't just medical recommendations. They're philosophical necessities. A walk outdoors reconnects us with life's rhythm. Observe the harmony of a garden, the sound of birds, sunlight. Nature is never an existential crisis. It flows. When we align with it, our anxiety decreases. The body was made for movement. Keeping it active is a form of respect for the tool life lent us to refine our perception. There's an excellent exercise. Pay attention to instrumental music. Our attention tends to be very superficial. We give things a quick glance and think we've understood everything, but life is made of subtle details. When listening to complex instrumental music, try to identify when an oboe enters, when a violin exits, when the rhythm changes. Train your ear to capture nuances. Whoever is superficial outside will be superficial inside. Whoever doesn't see the world's details won't be able to see their own soul's details. Another energy drain we need to stop is lending ears to chronic complainers. We're not talking about the friend who needs a shoulder in a difficult moment. We're talking about someone who made complaining a lifestyle. The person who constantly victimizes themselves, who only talks about illnesses and injustices. If you listen to this passively, you feed their vice and pollute your mind. Don't be complicit in this negativity. Cut the cycle. If the person is you, stop now. We change the discourse. Talk about solutions, not problems. To tie all this together, there's a practice of spiritual recall. Remember 3 times a day who we are and where we want to go. Routine has a centrifugal force. It throws us outside ourselves. We forget ideal and become automatons fulfilling tasks. Program yourself in the morning at coffee. Who am I? I'm someone who seeks justice. This coffee will give me energy to be just today. At lunch, what am I doing? Is this aligned with my ideal? At night, did I maintain course? Relate what you're doing now to your ideal? The way you dress, how you eat, how you speak to the doorman? Everything must have coherence if you want to be a fraternal person. You can't dress in a way that humiliates others, nor eat in a way that destroys your health. If at some moment you realize your action has no connection with your ideal, stop. You took a detour. Return to the main road, and on that road, avoid isolating yourself. But don't fear necessary solitude. Human beings need fellowship. We need to overcome social laziness, sit with different people, hear new stories, expand our empathy, but we also need to know how to be alone. Fear of solitude is actually fear of meeting yourself and not finding anything interesting. It's fear of inner emptiness. If you cultivate a rich inner life, solitude stops being a burden and becomes a meeting with your best friend, yourself. Use time alone to align purposes, and time together to exercise fraternity. One of the greatest enemies of inner peace is circular thinking. When you have a problem, make a decision, but continue chewing on it infinitely. That's a trap. When a problem arises, stop and concentrate on it. Research, ask for advice, analyze all angles, then make the decision. And once a decision is made, don't think about it anymore. Continuing to ruminate on an already decided problem is digging a hole under your own feet. It's a downward spiral. Sometimes someone offended us for 1 minute, but we carry that offense all day, repeating the scene in our mind. The person hurt us once. We hurt ourselves 1,000 times. Use imagination in your favor. Visualize that. You're pulling that vicious thought from your mind, crumpling it like paper, and throwing it away. Put a positive image in its place. Don't let your mind spin in neutral. This brings us to a fundamental step toward lightness. Close accounts with the past. We need to zero out life's accounting. Look at your old sufferings and do the calculation. How much I suffered versus how much I grew. If you realize the suffering made you a stronger, wiser, or deeper person, then the account is paid. What you gained compensates for what you lost. Close the transaction. Say to yourself, life owes me nothing and I owe nothing to it. Don't drag emotional debts. If someone hurt you, let life and the laws of cause and effect take care of it. You move forward lightly. Cultivate the habit of remembering what you love and distributing that love. Create effective bonds with the world. Don't pass through life as a stranger. Create affection for the path you take every day, for the tree on the corner, for the people who cross your path. When you say good morning,